From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings at LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, breaking news today as no less than a dozen senators and House members come out and say, we're adding things to the recon. Whoa, this is great. And we have the latest details of what happened with Ron Klain, the chief of staff of the President of the United States, and Jalapa. It's deliciousness. The price tag was $1.75, but could be going higher. What happened? I have the latest details. Then programs in, programs out. Get ready because more programs are being added in. A dozen legislators come forward on a weekend saying, we're not done, we're adding provisions in. I'll explain to you what happened and why things are going in still at this point. Then, student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven. Whose debts are being forgiven? Then, the big money for COLA. This stimulus as well. I have an insight as to what went on with the president to suggest the recon was done on Thursday when it wasn't. I have the latest details as the president is in Rome. I have the breaking details, but guess what? We have deliciousness, we have coffee, we have bacon. No, we don't have bacon, but we have Halloween. Happy Halloween. And this is a big, massive recording because guess what? Trick or treat. If you ask Kristen Cinema, she'll say, I'll get back to you. I haven't made a decision about it yet. And if you go to Joe Manchin's house for Halloween and knock on the door for holiday candy, what does he give you? He gives you coal. This is a special recording of Mornings LALATE. Day and happy Halloween to you. A deal was supposed to be happening, but guess what? More provisions are being added in there. We started with 3 people on a Friday. Today we have a dozen more. It's breaking news. We had thought we had a deal, but the price tag could go higher. Which programs are going in? Which programs are going out? A dozen legislators say they're adding stuff in there. And this is before Votorama. This is right now. This is incredible. This is what you wanted to see here. I'm ecstatic. You should be as well. Then student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven. The latest details on that. I have those details direct and live from Santa Monica as fifth stimulus is heating up. And it's right behind this. Then I have insight in the final 15 minutes of this video. And throughout the video that explains why the president tried to suggest a deal was in the recon. It has nothing to do with you or me. It has something to do with international treaties. I have all those incredible details. And this is LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is live on air at noontime. Big new show. It's live. And then we got a big show at 3 o'clock, afternoons LALATE, brand new, and evenings LALATE. And with that, consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Let's go over this incredible recon that will pay you about $15,000. 3 weeks ago, a House subcommittee passed a recon. And that recon at that time was $3.5 trillion. And even though the recon is smaller, it'll still pay you about $15,000. This is the type of money that pharaohs tried to steal from people. This is what Mardi Gras is all about. Whatever this costume is called. Here we go. This money for $15,000 for single individuals, people who are married, people with children, people without children, people on disabilities, people not on disabilities, red and blue states, across 3 costless checks and 3 add-ons. Let's go over the status of them right now. But remember, the status right now is not the finish line. In, out means where it is at the time of this recording. Let's go over the first cluster. And the good news is a lot of the items in the first cluster are literally the same way they were when passing that subcommittee, and all of them survived. Hazard pay survived. That's that earned income tax credit for 1 year will be in there. Elder care survived. The money for young children's care survived. Then the Pell Grant made tax-free, survived, and expanded for additional $550 a person. Then the money to repair the home if you live in a low-income community survived. This is huge. Then the money for earning the CTC, the child tax credit, survived for one more year. I have breaking details about this. I did not know. It's coming up late in this video. Stay with me. And then the money for bikes, cars, and trucks. It's a pre-Trump law. It's almost from Obama. They extended for another 10 years, 15% for the purchase price of a new electric bike, then $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Personal use, a little bit more if it's for business use. And there you go. That's the first cluster. Everything in there survived, just some of them reduced. Let's go to the first add-on. And the first add-on, we do not know if it survived in totality, but the rest of it did survive. It's the $25,000 from Maxine Waters for the purchase price of your first home. Did not survive at that price point, but the other items in this package did survive. They're related. They're about the home. You just saw the home repairs. Well, guess what? The home repairs to weatherize your home survived as well. Let's go to the second cluster and see what survived and what didn't survive as we go into the second cluster right now. Here we go. Paid leave, family leave, out. Childcare, in there. Household tax credit, in there. Community college, out. Pre-kindergarten, in there. And then money for weatherizing your home, survived. You gotta weatherize your home, because when Kristen Sinema comes knocking at your door, at your door, it's not for holiday candy. It's for campaign donations. Lock the door and don't open it to next Halloween. There you go. The second add-on, it's wonderful, and it survived. And guess who that's from? It's from Bob Casey. The second add-on is not only Bob Casey, but Joe Biden. It was a campaign promise. Free home health care. Wow, this is huge. Free home health care survived. This is for people who are on disabilities, people who are seniors. Free home health care provided from your state and local. They wanted $250 billion. It did not survive at $250 billion. It will be a little bit less, but it's in there, either through Medicare or Medicaid. I'll explain that later in this video. Stay with me. Stay throughout this entire video. I have a lot of breaking news, details about the programs, details from the new legislators. You're going to be shocked. The breaking news on a weekend. Yes, but this survived, and I have more about this later in this video. Let's go to the third cluster, which is where the big battles were. Free school meals for all, survived. Cheaper prescription medication, did not, out. Farmers, I think, out. The free internet, I believe, out, but we don't know. Clean energy, definitely out. Workers, independent contractors, don't know. And then the Medicare expansion, the dental, vision, and hearing, and the lowering the eligibility age, and the expansion of Medicare. Let me explain that on camera. So the expansion of Medicare across 50 states survived due to the great work by Raphael Warnock, Georgia, and Jim Claiborne, the Carolinas. They survived it so that with a new workaround so that all states have it and then all states pay for it, not just Democrats paying for Republican states. Then the lowering the eligibility age for Medicare from 65 to 60 or 55, I don't think it survived because we would have heard it by now. And then the money for dental, vision, and hearing. Well, this is interesting because the hearing survived, but not the dental and vision. More about that in a second. That brings us to our third add-on, which of course is that monthly IRS stimulus check. We have a lot of details breaking on this morning. The first one you're going to see in this video is that we now have a dozen legislators who's saying anything from saying the recon has big gaps to saying we're adding a lot of stuff in there to saying the work is far from over. They're adding a lot of stuff to this recon. This is incredible, great news across the board. Why is it? Because the MSC can still be added in there. We have Donnie, who reached out to Chuck Schumer's office this last week, and Schumer's office again said he's going to insert that monthly stimulus check provision. He told Debbie Applegate the week before, he told Donnie's wife the week before, and he's told viewers across the board. But the big exciting details is that with a recon still in flux, there is room to add provisions in there before we get to Vote-A-Rama. That's why it's getting very exciting. And that is why you need to advocate. Let's leave that message from a top legislator across the board. The top message is from the chief of staff that says, pick up the phone and advocate. Let's read it together. They now have, in total, between congressional and senatorial offices, received more contacts of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories. Now they have a better understanding of what people are going through the pandemic. They have heartbreaking story from the LA viewers. And now they have in you, the voice of the people across the nation, as you have been too loud to be ignored. Well, if I was too loud to be ignored, now this outfit makes me a little bit louder to be ignored. Let's read the last sentence together on air. Please continued encouragement for the continued advocacy. As you are the professional voice of the people, you have become and continue to advocate until this becomes law. Wow, very, very kind, but very important for us. This is why you need to advocate. We had Jennifer in the live chat of several videos yesterday saying to viewers, or interrogating them, saying, how many people have you called today? Absolutely. You can call on the weekend, leave them a voicemail, say, I need it. My family needs it. My community needs it. I need a stimulus check. There's room for a stimulus check. There's room for 2 stimulus checks. The price tag not etched in stone at 1.75. The provisions being added in there. This is the type of movement you wanted. In the second half of this video, I'll explain to you why Thursday was not what you thought it was. And I have inside brand new details of what happened on Thursday. Meantime, I have no less than a dozen. Can you imagine a dozen legislators speaking about adding into the recon on a weekend? Yes, it's getting very excited. In the second half of this video, we have a lot coming up. I'm very excited for you. We have never seen a day quite like this. A deal happening? No, not just yet. Provisions are being added. I'll explain which provisions are being added. Then, big, shocking inside information about Ron Klain, the chief of staff to the president, and Jalopal. You're going to love it. It's deliciousness. 1.75, not etched in stone. The recon could go higher. Then, programs in, programs out. Legislators, no less than a dozen of them saying they're adding provisions in there, with the senators taking the lead, but the House members as well. Then we turn to student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven by executive order. And then we have the incredible details of fifth stimulus. It's right behind as we go into a big morning. The coast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with the latest details. You have never seen a great recording like this. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues live from Santa Monica. In the second half of this video, the president is in Rome, Italy right now. But what did Rome have to do with doing a deal? You're going to hear breaking news, inside information only from this channel. It's happening in this recording. Then, LA told you so. The blocking of the roads and bridges was very, very interesting, but now new insight as to what happened between the chief of staff of the president and Jalopal on Thursday. Then, price is right, 1.75, but that is not the end. The price could go higher on the recon. This is good for you as the insertion of provisions still happening. Programs in, programs out. Get ready for this one because more programs could be added to the recon. What's going on? No less than a dozen senators and House members on a weekend saying they're adding provisions to the recon. Whoa, this is big. Then student loan debt forgiveness and COLA. COLA is going up, the latest on that. And then student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven. Those details and more as we have breaking details of what happened with that recon and Rome You're going to be shocked. It's a big it's a big morning, and this is LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Noontime, live on air. It's a big new show. Then the 3 o'clock, then the 1 o'clock afternoons. The big 3 o'clock, totally brand new, and the 5 o'clock. And very excited because the 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11:30 tonight shows all about Recon with a 3-hour programming block from 5 to 7. And with 5 to 8. And with that, let's go over the incredible details starting right now. We went into the weekend of Recon, thinking that Bernie Sanders was the only one of 2 or 3 people making changes to the Recon. No longer the case. Yes. What's going on? We had on Friday that Sanders, Pelosi, and Gothenheimer saying they're going to add provisions to the Recon, but that is no longer the situation. Because you'll wake up this weekend, you'll wake up now, and you learn that senators, House members, all say they're adding stuff in there. We are not done. You should be ecstatic because the provisions you wanted in there that are missing, or the provisions that have been watered down that need to be beefed up, they are still in flux, and this is incredibly great news. Here we go. Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, says, of course there's going to be dozen proposals that folks are going to try to add in there. Ron Wyden, who got his Bezos and Elon tax removed. He said the deal is not done until the Senate acts. Yes. So Ron Wyden says he's adding stuff in there, and there will be here's the quote from Ron Wyden. There is a significant amount still to do. Oh my goodness, that's incredible. Then Jalapal says senators are actually texting me to say they still want to negotiate. Yes, senators are texting Jalapal on the weekend, not trick-or-treat wishes, to negotiate on provisions to add into the Recon. If senators are able to come to a decision that is better than the 50 votes, then we welcome it, and we should do more work. I love it. AOC says we haven't really heard any sort of commitment to what the Senate is actually able to pass. So there's an open and willingness to negotiate more provisions, and we're certainly looking like that. We need a little bit more than just IOUs. Whoa. Debbie Stabenow says, I don't see it changing radically, but I do see it changing. And it's very possible there would be changes across the board. Here comes a biggie. You're not seeing this, and you're shocked when you're going to hear it. Chuck Schumer has to resubmit the Recon to the parliamentarian. So the parliamentarian the Senate parliamentarian will make changes, and if she takes something out, guess what? That money can be reallocated to the pharaohs. No, to you. To the Mardi Gras. No, to you. Senator Chuck Schumer has yet to introduce it again to the Senate parliamentarian, and there's provisions that are thought that may not survive. Bob Menendez, who is head of the Hispanic Caucus, and he's a senator, I featured him a lot on this channel, he said that they still will be making changes. And then Chris Murphy says, my impression is they're going to make changes. Not a lot, but they're going to make changes. And we're going to see what's going on with the prescription medication, at least across the board. Whoa, this is huge. Wow. Now, let me explain something. You're hearing it only on this channel. You're not going to hear it anywhere else. It's not particularly exclusive. It's exclusive analysis. Why are we where we are on a weekend like this? And why is it starting to come out right now? Let me explain. This morning, I listened to a nearly hour interview on another channel, not a YouTube channel, but a broadcast channel, with Jim Carrey, The Mask. No, John Kerry, the climate czar. He is in Rome, Italy, along with every CNN news reporter, because every CNN news reporter would rather get out of Atlanta, Rome. Yeah, I think Rome is a lot nicer. What did John Kerry say in that interview? Big. He said that the purpose of the conference in Rome is to get these countries, which account for 80% of the world's emissions, energy emissions, gas emissions, to commit to lower emission rates. And those lower emission rates must be at least 50% or higher. Europe has committed 75% reduction of emissions. So The president came in with 55, 57, 58. I can't remember the exact number. How did the president have to do it? With a bill? He doesn't have a bill. With a law? He doesn't have a law. With an agreement? That's all he can do. Ah, yeah, now you see it. The president had to go into this very critical meeting to show that he had a commitment to reduce admissions in the United States by a fundamental agreement that he basically debuted on that Thursday press conference to the American people. Enough so said that the other meetings and the other countries in these meetings would say, yeah, I think you have enough that I believe you're pledging that lower emissions. Now understand, this meeting in Europe is not a trivial meeting. It is to reduce global emissions over the next 10 years. And the president had to come in with something. So that is why the president on Thursday was rushing this to a public announcement. Not because he's trying to rush it for a vote on the roads and bridges, not because he's trying to rush it for Sinema or Manchin, but because he wanted to tee it up for Europe. So, when he comes back from Europe, that's not to say he can't make changes. Yes, this is why you watch this channel. Let me go over the details right now. The details right now is that an agreement on 1.75, no, very, very fluid across the board. It can go higher than 1.75. An agreement to call a vote on a particular thing, one before the other, no, not that either. So let's go over something you're hearing for the first time on Mornings LA, in addition to everything else I just told you. Block the vote. I had featured Ron Klain, the President Chief of Staff, on my problem list on Thursday because we were told initially that Ron Klain had told to call the vote on the roads and bridges. Not the case. Here's breaking news right now. Ron Klain reportedly does not even talk to the moderate Democrats. He talks to Jalapal Pramila nearly every day, and he spoke to Pramila all throughout Thursday. And Pramila told him, do not call a vote on the roads and bridges. It will not pass. The recon is not done. And that is why the moderate Democrats are furious at the president. The president is more aligned with the progressives. His chief of staff doesn't even talk to the moderate Democrats hardly. And the chief of staff told the president, when you have those meetings on Thursday with the senators and the House members, do not tell them to call a vote on the roads and bridges. Breaking news you're hearing right now. I had told you he had not done that it was Pelosi who did that. We have confirmation right now. The White House spokesperson, Andrew Bates, even had to issue a statement minutes ago saying that he cannot comment on what's going on. We cannot comment on private conversations with lawmakers, but the president's fighting to pass both bodies of law. Well, this is what happened, is that Pramila said that the president made a compelling speech for both bills, but the president never asked for a vote on Thursday. It was Speaker Pelosi who did it. Ooh, there it goes again. It was Pelosi who was trying to call a vote on the roads and bridges, not the president. And guess what? Breaking news you're hearing for the first time in this recording is the president, after he took off to Rome Thursday evening, Pelosi, Claiborne, and Schumer met and were not happy. Excuse me, not Schumer. Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, and Claiborne met and said they were unhappy that the president did not make the call. What would be the call? It all boils down to the fact that the president did not make the ask for the roads and bridges to be called for a vote. The president protected your recon because he specifically did not tell Hoyer, do not call the vote. Hoyer privately says, off the record, it all boils down to the fact that there wasn't any ask from the president to call the vote on the roads and bridges. Wow, there you go. So let's go over the details of why this is great news right now. Number one, the president did not call a vote on the roads and bridges. It was Nancy Pelosi. The president did not endorse a vote on the roads and bridges, left it up to Pelosi, but he didn't really want it. That's why Ron Klain was talking morning, noon, and night to Pramila. Number three, the Democratic progressives especially are trying to add provisions into this recon on a weekend. Can you imagine on a weekend where the news channels and the news stations and the news bureaus are closed down or in Rome because they rather get out of Atlanta. It's either the Pope or Nene Leakes. Which would you choose? They're all out of town. Can you imagine how many quotes we have on record on a weekend that I'm adding provisions to the recon? Get ready for Monday, folks. This comes after yesterday, where we had 3 people saying they're adding stuff to the recon. We had Bernie, we had Pelosi, and we had Gothenheimer. Gothenheimer saying I'm adding salt. Pelosi saying she's adding in there paid leave and family leave. And then came Bernie. Bernie's situation is very, very peculiar. Why? 3 provisions out. Let's go over the details. Prescription medication. Prescription medication makes no sense. Makes no sense. Let me explain what's going on. On Wednesday night, as of Wednesday afternoon, late afternoon on the East Coast, the president had in the recon, and Bernie and you and I, the dropping of prescription medication costs substantially for Medicare Plan B only. Medicare Plan B, what is that? That is for people who are on diabetes, like insulin. It's great, but that's all he had. After several months of negotiating to get that to include more Medicare plans, he finally continued to have resistance from Kristen Sinema. Kristen Sinema not expanding prescription medication, lowering the costs until Wednesday night. The president made the phone call Wednesday night with only lower prescription medication costs in Medicare Plan B. Called up Kristen Sinema and said, listen, I need you to expand this. I know you got big pharma in your pockets. I need you to expand this. We need to have lower prescription medication costs across the board. She agreed Wednesday night. Wow. Huge win. One of the biggest wins of the president during this entire negotiations to get the lower prescription medication costs across the board. Thursday morning, why do we not hear it? Why do we not see it? Because overnight, cheap prescription medication costs gone. What do you mean gone? The Medicare Plan B, gone. The negotiations with Sinema achieved, but literally all prescription medication costs out. Who took it out? We don't know. Bernie's not telling us. It was not taken out by Biden. It was not taken out by Sinema. She agreed to expand it. It was not taken out by Joe Manchin. He doesn't have any opinion about this whatsoever negative. Not taken out by Pelosi. No one knows these provisions are going out. Here's what Bernie Sanders said on Friday. It is the best bill since 1960s, but it has major gaps in there. Whoa, that's his exact quote. Major gaps are missing that need to be fixed. American people are sick and tired of paying higher medication costs. There is no language in there dealing with higher prescription medication. And I'm glad that they have hearing care in there, but they don't have dental and vision. Before the vote happens in the House, there needs to be explicit language to deal with all these things to make it a good bill, make it even better. When asked, are you opposing it? He says, I can't say that. I can't answer that question. I'm going to make a good bill better. Are you going to add provisions to it, Bernie? Absolutely. We're going to add we need to add other provisions, but I'm adding dental and vision and also prescription medication just to talk. It's inconceivable that year after year the senators talk about lowering prescription medication and we don't take care of it. Members of the House need assurances that this language is in there. And this is a good bill, but it needs to be made better. Whoa. So now let's go to the second part. Makes no sense. This is dental, vision, and hearing. Dental, vision, and hearing, 3 provisions. Well, let's go over the details. We had heard from the President of the United States that dental was the most expensive. Confirmed. And the President had seen Bernie want dental 10 years and wanted vision and hearing in there as well. So the president said, I'll do dental 3 years. Then we heard a concern about that. Pelosi saying it's hard to implement it. So Pelosi and the president, everyone saying, let's do dental with an $800 annual voucher. I say it's not enough, but it's a starting point. Suddenly that was gone. Gone. Why? Why was it gone? Now, when you look at dental, vision, and hearing, dental the most expensive. Which is the cheapest? The hearing? The hearing got in. Is the hearing the cheapest? No. The vision is the cheapest. Vision, a vision exam once per year, $50. Eyeglasses, $100, $120. It's $150 a person. It's the cheapest of the provisions. And it helps the most people because more people have problems with their vision in their 50s than they lose their hearing. And hearing is not $150. Hearing aids are a lot more than $150. So why did hearing get in there? No one knows. This is where the situation gets very fluid. So let's go over the programs in, programs out as we go into a big second half of this video. Stay with me because there's a lot still happening. I know it's a very fluid situation. It may seem complicated. I'm trying to keep it as simple for you as possible. These are provisions in right at the moment. And here's something else I have to say to you. You know that the President of the United States should know everything, but he can't. And so if you hear a press conference, it's from the president about the recon. It's not cumulative. It's not supposed to be everything. It's not supposed to be comprehensive. He left a lot of things. Second, you would think the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, smart lady, everyone loves her. I love her. You would think she gets things right. She doesn't. She appeared on broadcast media on Friday saying these are programs for multi-generationals. It's going to be transformative. They're 12-month programs, many of these. Many of the programs that are 12 months, she's referring to them as 10 years or 20 years, untrue. And then Chris Coons, one of the worst, most informed on people about this, talking about programs that are going to run for less than 12, 16 months and talking about it's going to be changing people's life for permanently. A lot of these legislators are just not well briefed. To be very polite about the words. Okay, here we go. Pre-kindergarten, got it in there. 3 to 4 years, 1 year. Pre-kindergarten for 3 to 4 year olds for 1 year. That helps 6 million children, Americans, across the board. They got childcare services in there. They got the earned income tax credit. They got the earned income tax credit in there for 1 year. This helps 17 million essential workers. Here's something new you're hearing for the first time on Mornings LA. The CTC, the child tax credit, which I told you is expanded for 1 year, $3,600 or $3,000. I had told you it's $60,000. A new report in front of me says they may have expanded it to include parents who make $150,000. I don't know if that reporting is accurate. The home health care absolutely got in there. Great news. This is free money this is free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. The reports I'm looking at saying it's for Medicaid. I do not know if it's also for Medicare. The hearing is for Medicare. I do not know if it's also in the Medicaid. Then we got expansion. Then we got the home repairs. Then we got the home repairs. There's a lot of them. There's also $150 billion for affordable housing to be modified, construction, rehab, and improvement of more than 1 million homes. The Pels Grant increased by $550 and then made tax-free. And then free school meals. Let's explain that. There'll be free school meals for children during the school year. That's 8.7 million children. And then when they're not in school, they'll get $65 per month on top of what they're currently getting for the months that they're not in school. That is the start. Now, the Bernie comments are fascinating because Bernie said those comments about dental and vision and hearing. Number one, he said, the number one provision on people's mind is they're being ripped off by pharmaceutical companies. We are paying 10% more for pharmaceuticals in the United States than other countries across the globe. And Big Pharma has 15 lobbyists in there in Washington, D.C. right now to prevent us from figuring out how to do this. Unclear what Big Pharma did, because you heard me earlier in this recording that the money was in there for lower prescription medication costs for Medicare Plan B, and then that was out. Joe Biden making the deal with Kristen Sinema to expand it, the cheaper prescription medication across the board, and then suddenly it's gone. Not very clear. And then Bernie saying we're the wealthiest country where people have no teeth in the mouth, cannot see, and yet we don't have that taken care of. Let's go over some other provisions across the board, which are very fascinating. And we're going to start with the money for paid leave and family leave. Paid leave and family leave and medical leave, it just has to be in there. It doesn't make sense. It's not in there. If you have a wife and your wife gets pregnant and you have to stay home from work, guess what? You don't get paid in America. In any country in the world, you get paid if your wife is pregnant. Pelosi proposed this at 12 weeks for all income levels and all types of workers, meaning you are an Uber or Lyft worker, you're a self-employed plumber, you have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. Also paid medical leave. What's medical leave? You're a single dad and your son broke his leg. You have to stay home from work because no one can take care of your son. In America, you can't get paid leave off. You can't get paid medical leave off. So Pelosi had put it at 12 weeks for all workers, all types, all durations. They said no. Then she reduced it to 4 weeks low-income employees only. I would have liked it at 4 weeks low-income all type of workers, not just W-2s. I'd like it 1099s. It was only going to cost $100 billion, not going to cost a lot. We know that got out because of Joe Manchin. So that one, at least we know how it got out. Community college, out. The Pell Grant, increasing by $550. The child tax credit, 1 year. I do not know if the reports are right, that it's up to $110,000 rather instead of $60,000. I don't know. Prescription medication out. Childcare in. Great news on that. Less number of weeks. Clean energy, of course, out. Health insurance. I had one viewer say, got to get that health insurance in there because my health insurance has been expired. Got it in there. Housing aid in there a lot. $175. That's a lot of money because this is mortgage, rent, utilities, the home repairs. Third stimulus only had a $47 billion, and then in-home health care, it got in there at $100-200 billion. They wanted 400, but they got it in there. Then the SALT and the Pelosi. So Pelosi, Gothenheimer, and Bernie were the three legislators on Friday who said, we're not done, we're adding provisions in there. Pelosi said, I'm sending it out, people can make changes in there. Gothenheimer, he is a problem creator. The guy from New Jersey, he wants the SALT in there. What is SALT? It is the lifting of the cap on state and local deductions across the board. Very important for people in New York, New Jersey, and California, where it would help a lot. He has spent a lot of effort to try to get in there. He says it's still going in there across the board. Wow. I have my interpretation and analysis and commentary on the situation coming up. Stay with me. Still a lot happening in this video. But now let's turn to student loan debt. More debt could be forgiven. The president has proposed to forgive $10,000 student loan debt by executive order. This is huge. This would be my former students across the board, all income levels, all types of students. The president has forgiven 3 rounds of student loan debts before this. First, he gave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation. Then he forgave student loan debts for individuals who went to work in the nonprofit sector 10 years after graduation. And the big one, people who went to work in the public sector 10 years after graduation. This is people who work in the city, the county, the state, the federal government, and work in the Mardi Gras. Your debts are forgiven. Just that mask is not forgiven. There we go. But the president's offer $10,000 by executive order, the Democrats should shake it. Fifth stimulus. Boy, this is getting exciting. People always say to me, why are you talking about fifth stimulus? We're still not done with fourth stimulus yet. Because guess what? It takes time to start a body of law, and it started last week. One of the top legislators, House Budget Chairman John Yarmuth, Democrat from Kentucky, met with Pelosi last week, said, get ready for fifth stimulus. Do it right away. Forced the Republicans to vote against it by recon, and I don't see the downside to it in election year because we're trying to do things that help. What is it? Your COLA benefits are going up about 5.9%, your Social Security Administration said in that letter. But guess what? You could have 1, 2 more lifts right behind it under fifth stimulus. How does this work? First, they're going to raise your benefits up under COLA, 5.9% next year. But under fifth stimulus, if that becomes law, they'll raise your benefits up a second time. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and multiple benefits. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark is inflation. Where is inflation going? Boy, I could have said a lot about inflation this week. There was a lot of inflation news this week, folks, but because of fourth stimulus, I didn't cover it. You're going to see Jerome Powell testify on Capitol Hill next week, and he's going to say, or he should say, that inflation will not be temporary. It's not going to be transitory. It's going to go up and stay up next year. Not as high, but at least 1 to 3%. Good news for you because that would be your third lift up if you are on benefits. First COLA, then fifth stimulus, and then the new benchmark next December. And inflation is likely to be 1 to 3%. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty. And love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest and do a pharaoh dance. You'll be able to do a pharaoh dance, not a pair dance. Get married at your wedding and no longer fear loss of marriage benefits. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? Become a member today and get the beautiful costume I'm wearing. No, you'll get the newsletter. It comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time from the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, which is also free. That's in the link of the description. Become a member today, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, and learn about third stimulus, which is still paying out. The average view of this channel is getting about $40,000 from third stimulus, and they're still getting it. Money for rent, money for utilities, money for mortgage, and yes, Viewers are getting additional rounds. You can get additional rounds of these monies. Money for food, like SNAP. And then the nonprofits, all 5 of them. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, all featured in the newsletter. They help with small appliances like furnaces, portable heaters, also small home repairs. And then the money from Treasury. All those are detailed in the newsletter. Get it and become a member today. And also, so you can get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And with that, let me go into my opinion of the situation, my commentary. You saw a little bit of it early in this video when I talked about why the president tried to get the recon functionally or publicly looking like it was done for purposes of a climate conference. Let's go a little bit more over this. This is not a small issue, folks. This is a major game-changing conference that talks about cutting world emissions over the next 10 to 20 years. It requires these countries that that generate 80% of the emissions around the globe to commit to cutting them back home in their home state. Each country or cluster of countries, in the case of the European community, cutting them dramatically. What was the U.S. going to propose? Based upon this recon. Not a law, not a bill. So the president had to show it as something he has an actual formative agreement. How would he do it? Have a meeting. Have people, in essence, make it look like they agreed to it, Sinema and Manchin, even though they're not formally agreed to it, so that he could hold a press conference. And the press conference would be believable. And he did hold a press conference on Thursday. Once Rome is done, he's back. Once Rome is done, can the number on the recon be changed? Absolutely. Can the number on climate be changed? Absolutely. Part of the conference of the climate is to determine the rule book. What is the rule book? To determine how you gauge the climate provisions. And if you don't need that amount of money, then you don't need that amount of money. Part of the money for climate is not directly for climate, but to encourage people to get off of coal and combustible energy and get on to clean energy. Why is this big? Why is this important? This is important because it was all part of what was happening on Thursday. When the president comes back into town, the recon can move at its own pace. Its own pace by getting provisions in there, not based upon the nuances of an international meeting. You've been with this channel. You've seen this channel on Saturdays and Sundays. You've never seen this channel on a Saturday, Sunday having so many quotes from so many legislators about making changes on a functional piece of legislation on a weekend when they're not in session until this coming Monday, when the broadcast channels and the newsrooms are closed generally because they'd rather be in Rome sipping a cappuccino than in Georgia going to the Leticia Lounge and wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt. When you see that much news coming out on a weekend, boy, you know this is going to be a big weekend. You know there's going to be a lot of news, and you know that Monday is going to be big firing. Now you understand why Ron Klain, the chief of staff to the president, was not so focused on passing the roads and bridges. Now let's make something very clear. A lot of things has been said about roads and bridges, and it's inaccurate. First, the roads and bridges does not generate a lot of jobs this year. Number two, the roads and bridges does not spend a lot of money this year. Number three, the roads and bridges is done over 10, 20 years. It's a very elongated, slow program. Slow on spending money, slow on generating jobs, slow on building bridges. It's a slow program. The recon is money right now, and that is why the focus is getting this done. But the great news is that while I'm wearing a mask, you can sort of see my smile here, but while I'm wearing a mask, you often gauge your reaction based upon my emotional reaction to how I'm delivering the news. Today, I'm very excited. I went into Friday with Bernie, Gothenheimer, and Pelosi talking about what they wanted added to recon. But when I have senators, when I have a lot of senators, when I have a lot of progressives, I don't even have a Liz Warren quote. I don't even have a Bob Casey quote. You know Liz Warren and Bob Casey want to add stuff in there. But when I have so many others already saying I'm adding stuff in there, this is big. When I have Jalapal saying her phone is blowing up from people text messaging her, this is big. This is why you need to pick up the phone. As Jennifer interrogating viewers in the live chat yesterday, have you made the call to advocate? Yes. Voicemails are available on the weekend. You can leave a voicemail advocating for inclusion of stimulus check. There's room to add a stimulus check. There's room to add 2 stimulus checks. There's room in this recon, and that is before the Senate parliamentarian potentially takes stuff out next Monday or Tuesday. There's a lot of room to add stuff, and you should be ecstatic because while the president tried to make it look like the door was closed on Thursday, it was just for purposes of making sure he had enough to bring to a climate conference to represent our country. And that's why you stay here, to make sure the information is explained in a way you can understand it. And these are details you're not going to really see anywhere else. It's a combination of Kerry's big interview, which debuted a few hours ago on a very small broadcast channel, and the details of the recon put together. Coming up next is Noontime at 11 a.m. We got a big new afternoon show at 3 o'clock. It's going to be huge. We have a big evening show. It's going to be tonight, totally huge, 5 o'clock. And I don't want you to miss anything across the board. And then we got shows at 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10 o'clock. The big exciting details is that the evenings countdown at 6 and the stream stimulus at 7 are all recent videos. So it's going to be a 3-hour programming block. You can sit back, enjoy your holiday candy, and don't answer the door if Joe Manchin comes knocking for coal. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Cow, Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay smiling. The toast was toasting, the butter was buttering. The coffee was brewing, the bacon missing, but the mask with John Kerry, Jim Carrey, one of those Kerrys, we're all here. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll see you at 11 on Noontime here back on LALATE Live.